Hello Year 9 and welcome to an English lesson on Animal Farm. We are going to be continuing with the lesson you did last time, which was focusing on Old Major's speech. I know the majority of you started to look for persuasive devices in the speech, and some of you may have even started to write some paragraphs. We are going to continue with that work today. It's really important to go over it because analysis is such a crucial skill in English. So your title is How Does Old Major Persuade the Animals to Believe in His Vision? And what we're going to do is recap the speech, plan out our quotations, write a paragraph, self-assess it, and then we will focus on making improvements. So that is our plan of action for today. Okay, so just a quick recap for those of you who weren't particularly confident with the speech the first time, or those of you that weren't in lessons. So I'm going to read it to you. You should have your own copy with you, but if you don't, it should be attached on Go for Schools or on Teams or in your email, so have a look. Failing all of those things, if you just Google Chapter 1 Animal Farm, it should come up. So this is where it begins. Now, comrades, what is the nature of this life of ours? Let us face it, our lives are miserable, laborious and short. We're born, we're given just so much food as will keep the breath in our bodies, and those of us who are capable of it are forced to work to the last atom of our strength. And the very instant that our usefulness has come to an end, we're slaughtered with hideous cruelty. No animal in England knows the meaning of happiness or leisure after he is a year old. No animal in England is free. The life of an animal is misery and slavery. That is the plain truth. But is this simply part of the order of nature? Is it because this land of ours is so poor that it cannot afford a decent life to those who dwell upon it? No, comrades, 1,000 times no. The soil of England is fertile, its climate is good, it's capable of affording food in abundance to an enormously greater number of animals than now inhabit it. This single farm of ours would support a dozen horses, 20 cows, hundreds of sheep, and all of them living in a comfort and a dignity that are now almost beyond our imagining. Why then do we continue in this miserable condition? Because nearly the whole of the produce of our labour is stolen from us by human beings. There, comrades, is the answer to all our problems. It's summed up in a single word, man. Man is the only real enemy we have. Remove man from the scene, and the root cause of hunger and overwork is abolished forever. Man is the only creature that consumes without producing. He does not give milk, he does not lay eggs, he's too weak to pull the plough, he cannot run fast enough to catch rabbits. Yet he is lord of all the animals. He sets them to work, he gives back to them the bare minimum that will prevent them from starving, and the rest he keeps for himself. Our labour tills the soil, our dung fertilises it, and yet there is not one of us that owns more than his bare skin. You cows that I see before me, how many thousands of gallons of milk have you given during this last year? And what's happened to that milk which should have been breeding up sturdy calves? Every drop of it has gone down the throats of our enemies. And you hens, how many eggs have you laid in this last year? And how many of those eggs ever hatched into chickens? The rest have all gone to market to bring in money for Jones and his men. And you, Clover, where are those 4 foals you bore, who should have been the support and pleasure of your old age? Each was sold at a year old. You will never see one of them again. In return for your full confinements, and all your labour in the fields, what have you ever had except your bare rations and a stall? And even the miserable lives we lead are not allowed to reach their natural span. For myself, I do not grumble, for I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm 12 years old, and have had over 400 children, such is the natural life of the pig. But no animal escapes the cruel knife in the end. You young porkers, who are sitting in front of me, every one of you will scream your lives out at the block within a year. To that horror we all must come. Cows, pigs, hens, sheep, everyone. Even the horses and the dogs have no better fate. You, boxer, the very day those great muscles of yours lose their power, Jones will sell you to the knacker, who'll cut your throat and boil you down for the foxhounds. As for the dogs, when they grow old and toothless, Jones ties a brick round their necks and drowns them in the nearest pond. Is it not, then, crystal clear, comrades, but all the evils of this life of ours spring from the tyranny of human beings? Only get rid of man and the produce of our labour would be our own. Almost overnight we could become rich and free. What then must we do? Why, work night and day, body and soul, for the overthrow of the human race. That is my message to you, comrades. Rebellion. I do not know when that rebellion will come. It might be in a week or in 100 years. but I know as surely as I see this straw beneath my feet that sooner or later justice will be done. Fix your eyes on that, comrades, throughout the short remainder of your lives, and above all, pass on this message of mine to those who come after you, so that future generations shall carry on the struggle until it is victorious. And remember, comrades, your resolution must never falter. No argument must lead you astray. Never listen when they tell you that man and the animals have a common interest, that the prosperity of one is the prosperity of the others. It is all lies. Man serves the interests of no creature except himself, and among us, animals, let there be perfect unity, perfect comradeship in the struggle. All men are enemies, all animals are comrades. Okay, so you should have annotated this already, but if you haven't, pause the video now and go through, maybe try to pick a couple of things from each paragraph. Move on when you're ready. Okay, so your annotation should look a little bit like this. I've taken the 4th paragraph down and copied and pasted it here. So you can see I've not highlighted the whole thing, I've just picked certain bits that I found particularly powerful. So I've got miserable, cruel knife personification and horror. So I'm talking about emotive language, and that reinforces how awful the animals' lives are, and it influences them to be angry at the enemy, man. So that's how Old Major is persuading them to listen to his vision. In blue, you young porkers, and you boxer, you've got direct address, and that makes it personal. You can use all these inclusive pronouns, but by directly addressing his audience, it means that they are more likely to act. And finally, in the yellow, you've got brutal imagery, and that really emphasises the horrors that the animals will face if they do not act. So this is what I mean by annotating. That's the sort of standard I'm looking for each of those paragraphs. If you haven't already, maybe add to some of your annotations now and pause the video. Okay, so thinking about our writing, you are going to choose between 3 and 5 persuasive quotations from your annotations. You are going to copy them into your book, and you are going to annotate them in detail. I've done a couple here on the side for you, so pause the video now, pick your 3 to 5 quotes, write them in your book and annotate, and then come back when you're done. Okay, for this next task, you are actually going to write your response to the question you wrote as your title. So how does Old Major persuade the animals to believe in his vision? I would like you to give yourself just 5 minutes to do this task. I don't want you to make it perfect. Just try to make sure you include a topic sentence or a point, a quote for your evidence, and some analysis explaining what the quote shows. I'm not expecting these to be amazing. The point is that you're going to do this, reflect on it, and then make some improvements. So pause the video for 5 minutes. Okay, for your self-assessment, I would like you to check yourself, and I'd like you to do this in a different coloured pen if you have one. Doesn't matter what colour. So, in your first sentence, did you answer the question and refer to how Major persuades the animals to believe in his vision? Did you use a quote? Did you analyse the devices in the quote? So if it was a rhetorical question, did you talk about that? Did you zoom in on key words in the quote? So the word cruel, for example, suggests X, Y, and Z. And if you were feeling extra fancy, did you link your ideas to the context? So communism, for example. I would like you to have a look back over your paragraph, and in a different coloured pen if you have one, set yourself a what went well and an even better if. Use the success criteria on the slide that we've just been through. Pause the video and come back when you're done. Okay, here is one I made earlier. Now this is not perfect, so I'd like you to think about what makes it good and where it could be improved. Throughout Old Major's speech, he makes use of several inclusive pronouns to persuade the animals to agree with his vision. Examples of this include us, we, and ours. The use of inclusive pronouns is effective because it suggests Old Major's ideas also belong to the rest of the animals on the farm. This could therefore persuade the other animals to support Old Major's desire for a rebellion, meeting the purpose of the speech. Furthermore, the use of the noun comrades links to the Russian Revolution, as this is how members of the Communism Party were to refer to one another. This also creates a sense of unity. So, here I would say I have all the elements of a good response. I've got a clear topic sentence, I've got quotes, I've got terminology, I've got analysis, and I also have a link to the context. But I'd like to think of where it could be improved. Does it read as smoothly as it could do? And how could we make it even better? For example, this last bit at the end in the pinkish colour, that link to communism, it's really good that I thought about that, but it's just added on at the end. It's not really doing it an awful lot. So we need to make sure that if we're talking about context, we're making it really clear as to how it links to our quote and how it links to our understanding of the book. So just something to think about, but you can refer back to this example if you get a bit stuck. So thinking about your targets that you set earlier with the success criteria and the paragraph I just showed you, what I would like you to do is to rewrite your paragraph and add another one on. Or, alternatively, if you can't face the prospect of rewriting that paragraph, just write 2 different ones. So on the left, I've got some sentence starters you can use to help you out. I've also got some quotes you might want to borrow and some sentence starters for the analysis. And on the right-hand side, it's the system we go through, so how we structure our paragraphs. So we make reference to the question, we embed a key quote. That just means, like, put it in a sentence, don't just shove it in. And then the why, your analysis should be your biggest part of your paragraph. That needs to have the most detail. And if you're feeling snazzy, you should include some alternative interpretations, but always think about what the writer's intentions were. Why did Orwell write this? Why did he pick those words? What effect did he want on his audience, his reader? I would give you probably between 10 and 15 minutes to complete this task because I would like it to be really good. So pause the video and come back when you're done. Okay, the final thing I would like you to consider for today, please, is evaluating the language features. So that's like the next level up from analysis because you're making judgments. So in your opinion, based on all the work you did today and in your last lesson before you went home, which of Old Major's rhetorical devices, that just means persuasive, do you find the most effective and why? Overall, how effective do you find his speech? So you might say, I think his use of emotive language was the most effective because it made the animals feel something, it made them worried about what might happen if they didn't act. Or you might think, no, it was a repetition, or nope, it was rhetorical questions. It's your opinion, there's not a right answer, you just need to be able to justify it. And once you're done, even though I'm the weird floating head here, I would like you to email your teachers with your work, or you can just upload it on Teams where they would have put it as an assignment. Any questions? Email your teachers. If I'm your teacher, email me. But I look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care.